Hey everyone, welcome back to MGS Coaching Football. Thank you for watching my channel because I do really appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber, you might want to consider pushing that button because it doesn't cost you anything. Okay, and I think you can benefit from a few things here. So, today in my continuing drill playlist, I'm going to go over with you one of the drills that we use with our linebackers. We can also use it with our defensive backs. It's a way to teach a lot of aspects of proper blitz technique, okay? And we just simply call it the blitz progression drill, okay? And it's all about the blitz technique. So what I will do is I'll go over how we set up and execute the drill. Then I'll go through the specific, and for this drill and this type of blitz, I'll go through the technique and the progression that we teach it in and how it plays out in the progression as you're executing that blitz, live, whether it's here in the drill or in a rep or certainly in a game, right? Again, please remember, one way you can judge the effectiveness of any drill is how often do you see it show up on the game tape, right? I mean, are what you using for drills with your players, is it helping them for what's going to actually happen in the course of a game? Okay? And then the last thing I'll go over, and these coaching points will come up frequently throughout the other two pieces of this video, are the coaching points. All right? So first up, the setup and execution. Setup is the same as it's all for all our drills. We use tangible landmarks. In this case, it's on a hash mark. Okay, it could be a sideline, could be a fight, but use a tangible landmark. The BLs are the blockers. We set them up with crayons. Okay, here we have them on both a marked 5-yard line as well as a hash mark. We separate them, roughly a yard or so. Okay, if you use the hash mark, just have them straddle the hash because then they'll be separate based upon the hash mark. Okay, we have the crayons on the outside arm. So if you're in the left line, you'd be working to the left, and the right line to the right. And there's never any collisions, which is the reason for that. Okay, in this case, they're inside linebackers, so they have 4 yards, toes 4 yards from the blocker. Coach stands back here for 2 reasons. One, he can watch the entire drill process, everything from their stance to their get-off, to the flipping the hips, all that stuff. But he's also could be the movement key. So he's going to lift his foot. Okay, that is the movement key. I use that a lot because it's so easy. Plus, foot's on the ground, ball's on the ground, ball moves up, foot moves up, right? So it's pretty good simulation. So when that coach lifts his foot, they start the plug blitz. Alrighty? So when the linebackers finish the blitz, meaning they've cleared the blocker, okay? Because I always want to teach our guys what to do when they're in the worst situation. The easiest thing in America is blitz an open gap and you don't have to worry about defeating anything. Well, that's not very realistic, right? So once they clear the blocker, now they're going to sprint shimmy to the near hip of the coach. Okay, sprint shimmy. And then what will happen is the coach is going to point. So in this case, the coach pointed to the left for the 2 blockers, hence their pursuit. And they're going to run until I give a little tweet. Doot! Just tweet of the whistle. Why do I do it that way? Well, for one, it gets them used to running until they hear the whistle, right? But also, 2, it eliminates time to set up, take down. If you put cones, they get flipped, kicked around, right? We don't have a zillion GAs or managers of that, so you got to factor those things. And I'm guessing at the high school and again Division III or even maybe Division II college level, you're in a similar situation. So that's why I do it that way. And I don't, give a long whistle because it'll screw up other aspects of the practice. So it's just a quick tweet. Doot! Honestly, I hope they don't hear us. You know what I'm trying to say? And if they don't do that to the tweet of the whistle, then you have a built-in, consequence for that. And then they switch lines, and you get at least 2 reps left and right, and that'll factor in when we talk about the blitz technique, which is coming. So it's a very simple setup and execution, okay? And so, excuse me, when I got to correct myself here. The blockers, okay, they're going to be hold the crayon for a point. And what I do, I should have started with this, is you always have injured players or guys watching. They're the ones holding the crayon, so you don't use actual players. If you do have a situation where you need to use your own players, then the situation is these guys who were the blitzers become the blockers, and then they switch lines after that, right? I mean, you got to adapt things according to your own situation. All right, so first things first, the technique. I play out of your stance. One of the biggest reasons why we're in a staggered stance is we never tip when we're blitzing because the stance is always the same. You watch them on TV, if they're a toes even stance when they're going to blitz, suddenly they're in a staggered stance. You have to be. It's very difficult to blitz forward when your toes are even. That's when you get drop steps, and we don't want drop steps. And that's the other reason. It eliminates the drop steps. So you just simply put a little bit more weight on that front foot so you can dig off the toe. More power, getting the cleats in the turf, creating force through the ground. Well, it's much easier to do that when you have that staggered stance, right? And you're digging off the front toe. So here's the reason for 2 reps, both left and right. First rep, no hands. Total focus is on snapping the hips, getting skinny and clearing the blocker. And a big part of that is reverse karaoke with that near foot, near leg, okay? Then once you do that and you've cleared the hips, so to clear the blocker, so if I'm in the left line, my right leg is going to be the one flipping back. When my right leg is going forward, I've essentially cleared the blocker. Okay, so a big part of that is, hence this angle, is taking that step so that when you flip the hip and step, you're not going to have any contact with the blocker. Okay, and that's kind of the key to this whole thing. Hence why this drill is so important. You can't just blitz people willy-nilly, right? So once they get skinny and clear, they got to re-square. So, you're obviously not going to run with your hip sideways. You drive that. So if I'm in the left line, I drive the right leg forward. Now I am re-square. And so now I'm going to sprint shimmy to that near hip. Okay, that's the focus. So it's easier for your players to do, especially in the beginning, spring ball, preseason. It's much easier to do it that way. And then just continue to do it that way just so that the players get the focus, okay? If you got such studs you don't have to worry about that, well then I'll be watching on TV, right? On the second rep, again, 2 left and right. Now you're going to bring the hands into it. So the footwork always is the same, but now you've got to synchronize the hands. So we talk about a far. So if I'm in the left line, my far is my left. I'm going to chop, and then with my right arm punch right off the outside. So I shouldn't be going over any part of the shoulder. I should be coming right off the outside of the shoulder pad. Because if you're coming any over the shoulder at all, he's going to get a piece of you. And he's going to disrupt the blitz motion that you're trying to create going forward, and your penetration is going to be disrupted. Okay? So in the left lane, the far is the left. Near is the right. In the right line, far is the right. Near is the left. Okay? So in the right line, I'll go to the other one we teach. Club with the right, punch with the left. So as you're stepping and clubbing, you're completely clearing yourself so you can punch right through. So if you're wondering why you want to punch, when you club, you've turned your shoulders. As you punch, you bring your shoulders back to square. So the punch piece is getting your shoulders square again as your hips are also getting square, right? Re-square. The punch helps you re-square your shoulders. Not to mention, if there's any chance the blocker's going to get a piece of you, as you punch, you're going to break the bond between you and the blocker, whatever it might be. And then, the coaching points overall, you're literally trying to avoid body contact as much as possible. mean, you're trying to blitz, you're trying to penetrate, you're trying to get TFLs. Well, you can't do that if you're trying to run. If you're running through a friggin' blocker. You know, we always use a lot of things, guys. Do you try go through closed doors or do you open them? All right. I mean, do you try and go through the wall or do you go through the opening? I mean, it's not complicated, but it's a way to get them. Oh yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? So. The other key thing is keeping the eyes on the target as they're blitzing. The target is both the blocker, but they also got to see the ball carrier. So as they're plugging, I mean, if that ball's already been thrown, they got to recognize that, and they got to break off the blitz. Okay, don't do that in this drill. I wouldn't suggest it, or they'll never get the blitz movement going. They'll be too tentative. They'll be looking to get out of the blitz. But the point is, their eyes, they have to see the ball, through the blocker. So you got to teach that. And again, that's part of blitzing. You can't blitz with your eyes closed. You don't blitz in the dark, right? So avoid as much body contact as possible. Eyes on the target, blocker to ball carrier. Reverse karaoke with your near leg. Okay? So again, at any point you have questions, please reach out to me at CoachMJSullivan@gmail.com because I would love to talk football with you.